Okay, so Adam Briones, my co-chair and partner in crime today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Yes, Adam and I will be co-chairs for this particular session. And I want you to know again that I actually volunteered to introduce Gary Torgow, who I just think is an absolutely wonderful man. So I'll start again by giving you a little bit of his bio. Gary Torgow is the chairman of the board of directors of the Huntington National Bank. Before joining Huntington, he was the executive chairman of TCF Financial Corporation. He was appointed to the board of directors of TCF Financial Corporation upon completion of the merger between Chemical Financial Corporation and Legacy TCF Financial Corporation on August 1st, 2019. Gary previously served as chairman of the board of directors of Chemical Financial Corporation from August 2016 to August 2019. He also served as chairman of the board of directors of Talmer Bank, Inc. from December 2009 to July 2016. Prior to his work with Talmer Bank Corp. And Chemical Financial Corporation, Gary Torgow founded and chaired a real estate development and investment company, Sterling Group, based in Michigan. Gary Torgow serves on the board of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, the board of DTE Energy, and is a member of the Beaumont Health Trustees. Gary is on the executive board of the Jewish Federation of Metropolitan Detroit and is the board president of Yeshiva Beth Yehuda. He also served as a board member of the Bank of Bloomfield Hills, on the Michigan board of the private bank, and on the board and audit committee of Jackson National Life Insurance Company. Now, I'd like to step aside for a second and just acknowledge that Gary Torgow is a wonderful man. I've got the opportunity to meet him about over a year ago, and I am so impressed with everything about him, his giving, his love of Detroit, his passion for righting wrongs, and his just overall approach to the community. I can't tell you how many people in the community have told me what a wonderful man he is, but I've had the opportunity to find that out for myself. He is truly a pillar of the community. I've never met anyone else like him that just has such a giving spirit and a giving heart. I am proud to present to you Gary Torgow. I've never met anyone else like him that just has such a giving spirit and a giving heart. I am proud to present to you Gary Torgow.
Thank you, Dina. Good morning. It's an honor to participate in this vital and much needed summit. My great appreciation to my friends, Mr. Alapina and Mrs. Dina Harris, for both creating this opportunity for important dialogue and for the stewardship and efforts on behalf of the Black and Latino Coalition. I proudly hail from Detroit, Michigan, and over the course of this summit, a number of wonderful leaders from the Detroit area will be participating in panels and speeches. These colleagues are doing marvelous work for communities all across our city and state. These leaders include our Huntington, Detroit Community President, Latrice McClendon, the founder and pastor of the Family Tree, Patricia Pearson, Pastor Alonzo Bell of the Martin Evers Baptist Church, and Pastor Charles Williams, who leads the historic King Solomon Church here in Detroit, and Sandro Danello, my friend, the CEO of Flagstar Bank. As we contemplate and can never forget the horrific murder of George Floyd, which was in and of itself a monumental stain on our country, it helped spur a movement of deep discussion, critical ideas, and new efforts to reanalyze and rethink what NAACP co-founder W.E. Du Bois called the American color line. He coined that phrase in 1903 to connect Americans to the institution of slavery and the enduring shame it created. The murder of George Floyd reminded us that the color line that Mr. Du Bois spoke of still remains a part of the fabric of our country. Shortly after the horrific incident in Minneapolis, the mayor of our city of Detroit, Mike Duggan, and the president of our Detroit NAACP chapter, Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony, summoned Detroit's corporate leadership on June 3rd, 2020, to an historic press conference here in Detroit. At that press conference on June 3rd, in the few moments allotted to me, I reminded all of us standing there on that stage that a company is only as healthy as the community it serves. In the cities and states where we operate, it is incumbent upon all of us and those that have influence in companies and enterprises, and those that toil throughout the communities, that we must all become champions of the effort to eradicate the harsh reality that is life for minorities in America. Reverend Anthony on that day reminded all of us that every American company, every American leader, and truly every citizen of our country has a stake in this reality, and reimagining that circumstance is both a demand and an obligation upon all of us. We stood united that day as corporate citizens, where we each committed to do our part to reject all forms of bias, racism, and violence in our workplace and communities, and to double down on our purposeful engagement within our cities and neighborhoods. That has become the clarion call for my colleagues in our community and communities across the country. Great men and women leading great companies who each have made long-term commitments to this very vital goal. It is important to pause this morning to share with all those at this conference that our thoughts and prayers are with all the families and businesses who have been so affected by the devastation of the COVID health crisis and the resulting economic challenges and generations of economic disparity and systemic racism that has led to serious consequences and even life and death impacts for Black and Brown families and businesses everywhere. Every aspect of our lives has changed, from how we work, how and with whom we interact, especially to the ways in which our children are learning. It is in so many ways the new reality. We are living with it and it will likely be with us well into the future. During these last 18 months, our bank, Huntington, and TCF, prior to our merger, have been privileged to put our purpose in action, focused on lifting our colleagues, customers, and communities throughout challenging times. A key to this Black and Latino Economic Summit is to underscore that access to capital for certain groups and in some neighborhoods across our country is a bias that we can no longer tolerate. We are participating in discussions such as these because we know the first step to effect changes is to listen and better understand the needs of the community. We must continue to identify and address root causes as to why people and businesses in the Black and Brown communities aren't accessing capital with the success rate of others. Our company, Huntington Bank, under the great leadership of our CEO, Steve Steinauer, had the privilege and foresight to recently announce a new $40 billion community plan, which is focused on supporting minority, women, and veteran-owned small businesses and individuals throughout our footprint, and building on our position as the #1 SBA lender in the United States of America. We at Huntington, working with Operation Hope, created a program called Lift Local for Business, focused on providing low-cost, patient access to capital, including free checking and treasury management services and free education for small businesses owned by Black, Brown, female, and veteran-owned companies located in low to moderate income or majority diverse census tracts. This no-fee loan program offers options for businesses looking to start, grow, transition, or recapitalize their balance sheet in a way that rethinks traditional lending standards by lowering minimum credit scoring or providing options for restored citizens. Based on feedback that we received, we continue to expand our work with community organizations to ensure that our programs reach those who need it the most by partnering with organizations that focus their efforts on the Black and Brown communities that we serve. As Huntington began to outline its community plans and responses to these issues, we held in-community needs listening sessions with nearly 400 nonprofits that develop affordable housing, provide community services, and support small business. Our bank is fully committed to continuing to listen, to partner, and to deliver programs that will help our small businesses recover and thrive. We will also invest in the communities and in the families who live and work in the neighborhoods where we have the privilege of serving. With the great help of Huntington's outstanding team members, Stacy Glenn Short, Sharon Spire, Carrie Rosenfeld, and many of our regional presidents and their local teams, a great deal of outreach has been made to better understand the dynamics of individual companies and how partnerships can be formed to align with the pillars of our strategic community plan. We have added 7 community development relationship managers to our team to further better expand our outreach and delivery with those partnerships. Some great examples of the success of this outreach has been a partnership we have formed with the Michigan Hispanic Chamber of Commerce to support the development and growth of Hispanic businesses in Southeast Michigan. That chamber serves as an advocate for jobs and economic development by promoting participation in supplier diversity development programs and international trade with Mexico and other Latin American countries. Back in September, we kicked off a year-long engagement with Forward Cities to support a learning collaborative dedicated to advancing equitable entrepreneurial ecosystems throughout Ohio. And in Chicago, we support a small business training program which assists Latino women who want to start or accelerate their businesses. And in Detroit, we helped launch and are the proud lead sponsor for the new Black Chamber of Commerce, now known as the Metro Detroit Black Business Alliance, led by our good friend Charity Dean. This incorporates initiatives to help bring relief, recovery, and growth to small businesses across the Midwest, and to find ways to move individuals into home ownership in the neighborhoods that they choose to live in. Over these months of rolling out our community plan, we have had the opportunity to put words into action. One such example was Inez Melendez, who had a dream to be a restaurant small business owner. In early 2020, she purchased a mobile food truck, but pandemic restrictions quickly put her dreams on hold. No stranger to adversity, Inez is the daughter of a first-generation immigrant who spoke no English when arriving in Chicago at the age of 18. She was also a young mother and lost her parents at a very young age. But she did not let anything stop her, including the pandemic. She told Fox 32 in October that they had shifted to mobile and takeout orders, and in September, she began her Lyft Local lending journey with Huntington branch manager Richard Stark. The loan would go towards leasehold improvements of her business, as well as working capital. She closed her Lyft Local loan on October 19th, with plans to fill her business space with exotic plants and flowers that will transport her customers to the lush green mountains of Puerto Rico. She hopes, and we are confident, that she will build a legacy with her small business that she can one day pass to her wonderful children. In October 2020, Renard Green shared with the local press in his city his experience trying to access capital for the purchase of a small business winery. He had been turned down by every bank he had reached out to. A Huntington bank manager, Mike Carroll, met with Mr. Green and ultimately, through the Lyft Local loan, completed a successful loan transaction to secure the purchase of his business. Mr. Green is now the owner of a thriving urban chateau, focusing on his vision to allow his customers a chance to experience this wonderful small business. These examples are not just about a special bank program or borrowers that need help. It is about dedicated bankers and business solution team partners in our bank all across our footprint and bankers everywhere who are helping to bring dreams to fruition. As we have learned in this time of economic uncertainty, small businesses are seeking partners who can help them achieve their goals. Not only do they need lower dollar loans with a lower credit score threshold, but they need longer repayment terms and lower fees. So what can banks do to remove impediments for minority and women-owned and small and micro businesses? Huntington and other banks can and are working closely with government officials and local stakeholders to focus initiatives on under-resourced businesses and consumers, including communities of color, rural areas, and distressed neighborhoods. There is also an opportunity for banks to act as conveners, bringing corporate partners who typically do not work in this space to the table as a resource. It is also important to include providing one-on-one coaching for small businesses as we do as part of our Lift Local program, increasing access to capital by expanding our Lift Local commitment from $25 million to $100 million. We are also increasing our investment in affordable housing initiatives by expanding our portfolio-based homeownership programs, increasing our investments in low-income housing tax credits, and investing in organizations that offer alternative mortgages. The responsibility to advance the principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion apply broadly to all business segments and communities throughout the nation, with each having an opportunity to initiate positive changes that will move the country toward a more equal and inclusive society. Now more than ever, we must endeavor to come together as a community to address the major barriers that limit access to capital, including building a bridge to trust and providing access to information and support resources. As an industry, we need to identify opportunities to do business differently, taking into consideration cultural differences and historical impediments, and we must break down the barriers that limit access to capital. I remember well just a few years ago when we were beginning to build our bank here in Detroit. We committed a substantial amount of resources to offer a neighborhood in Detroit, the Marygrove College area, a forgivable loan to any individual interested in buying a home in this wonderful and historic neighborhood. I had the privilege to attend the first of many closings where our money was granted through this program. At that closing, I met with an impressive young African American woman who told me that she was buying a home in the Marygrove College neighborhood because through our grant, she was able to capture the home next to her parents in the very same home she had grown up in. Most of America today, even despite the incredible devastation of COVID-19, relies on small businesses throughout our country. Without the survival of those small businesses, communities and neighborhoods would suffer tremendously. One of the important subjects that will be covered during this summit is for the vital challenge and to do everything we can to close the racial gap. There is no doubt that financial institutions have the ability and the obligation to lift up those who struggle with access to capital. The American dream was built and made a reality by affording every man and woman that wishes to purchase and finance a home in the community they wish to live in. That dream is an essential part and a solemn obligation of banks across the country. One hero of this industry is my good friend Dina Harris, who is the co-founder of the Detroit Black and Latino Affordable Housing Development Fund and the president of National Faith Home Buyers. What Dina is doing with partners like our community president, Latrice McClendon, and with Beverly Meek of Flagstar Bank and Bean Elliott of JP Morgan Chase is not only encouraging, but obligating banks to step up and do their part. I recently had the privilege to meet with a local resident of the city of Detroit who, after raising 5 young children, was finally able, with the help of National Faith Home Buyers and our bank, to not only purchase her first home, but to have the extra funds to upgrade it as she desired, to what she described as the realization of her dream come true. The home is now complete with a picket fence, beautiful basement, and brand new kitchen with state-of-the-art appliances and 5 bedrooms, 1 for each child, and her own master bedroom. She told me with tears in her eyes that she now knows there are real angels walking the streets of Detroit. One of the wonderful communities that Huntington is privileged to partner with is the Grandmont Rosedale neighborhood in Detroit. Grandmont Rosedale has many wonderful attributes. First among them is that its residents are incredibly prideful of the community they live in. The neighborhood runs across 3.5 square miles of Detroit and has almost 20,000 residents and hosts some of Detroit's most wonderful small businesses. We have a branch in Grandmont Rosedale that abuts a community center that we are opening to serve both our customers and the community. We see it as our responsibility to bolster those buildings and therefore have contributed to flower shops, bookstores, barbershops, spas, and special eateries. And we are honored and proud to know the owners of these businesses and in a small way to contribute to the great additions they are making to the Grandmont Rosedale neighborhood. One example of this is the Cuts Lounge, a local barbershop owned by my friend Dante Williams. TCF Huntington was able to assist him during the height of the pandemic to support his request to receive a PPP loan. Dante was able to continue to employ barbers and beauticians during the difficult season and service the community. Dante, for the past 6 years, has been renting the building where the barbershop is located. Just 1 month ago, our bank helped him to secure an SBA Express loan through our Lift Local program to purchase his own building. He had been turned down by 3 other banks before our loan was completed. He now has plans to renovate the building into a full-service grooming shop and event center. Our desire is to help drive meaningful change and to improve the economic vitality, financial security, and sustainable future for those we serve. Our bank has assisted tens of thousands of first-time home buyers and invested significant capital in the affordable housing space. The 2021 community plan we now have in place addresses social, racial, environmental, and economic inequities. This plan includes billions of dollars to traditionally under-resourced customers and communities. We have allocated billions of dollars for consumer and home lending, over $10 billion for small businesses, and over $6 billion for community development, lending, and investment. This Black and Latino Summit that we are so honored to participate in presents a great opportunity to not only talk through the many challenges we as a country are facing, but to share real ideas amongst each other to encourage greater efforts to provide a space to have a frank discussion about eroding barriers to increase Black and Latino business opportunities and home ownership. When communities come together and convene to collaborate on how all of us must do our part to address the multitude of issues that are facing this critical and underserved community, we are simply doing our job. Banks are in a very unique place with a unique opportunity to lean in, to lead the way to find new and greater methods to encourage more equitable banking practices, small business resources, affordable housing and homeownership resources, and encouraging greater access to capital. This, in so many ways, is the calling of our generation and the privilege we have been given. For all its faults, America is a community of great people, ever striving to be better and to form a more perfect union together. If we collaborate in earnest, and we truly make this our passion, we can, in our generation, strive to make every citizen equal under the law and equal in opportunity, because after all, we were created equal by our Creator with that goal in mind. Thank you for including us this morning, and my great appreciation to everyone who is participating in earnest to do their best to make these goals a reality for the betterment of our country and for the benefit of the communities and individuals we serve. Thank you, and have a wonderful summit.
Thank you so much, Gary. I'm going to get you later for mentioning me, but beyond that, your words are just so inspiring. I just don't know what to say, but God bless you, Gary. God bless you. Adam Briones, I know you wanted to say a few words.
Oh, no, I just want to say thank you to Gary again for attending, and just wanted to remind everyone that we have some great meet and greets and breakout sessions following this. So thank you all for joining again.
Okay, now, before we sign off, one of the things I do want to say is that Huntington Bank was the first bank to step up and support our Black and Latino Affordable Housing Coalition in our funding, and they were the first to give us direction. We are so appreciative of them and the positive steps that they've taken. And so because of them, we are moving forward with our CDFI. That leads me to tell you all that on Thursday, we will be presenting the CDFI, the what you don't know, what it means, the works. And it is so important for you to come back. That summit, the session on starting a CDFI, why it's important to start a CDFI, will be start at 11 a.m. I really hope you come back for it. It's going to be really, really special. So we're going to move forward now and move to our break session. We're going to give you like a 45-minute break before we start our 1 o'clock session. So I look forward to you all. Please hang in there with us. We got a lot of good information coming. So stick with us. Don't give up on us. God bless Huntington Bank and Gary Torgow.
And thank you very much, Dina, for your wonderful moderation.
See everybody at 1.
See you all at 1. Bye-bye.